very streamlined shape so that they can run very fast. They have an armored front, meaning that when you look at their chest and shoulders, their shoulders are heavily padded. Their chest is enclosed in their rib cage. The most vulnerable parts of this animal, the unprotected abdomen and the gonads, are all the way at the back, where they're the most protected from injury. They have a very thick, muscular, sturdy neck, forward deployed weapons. Their top speed is roughly about, except for the cheetah, which is an extreme example, about 35 miles an hour, and that enables them to ambush and capture the sick, the injured, and the unwary. They have what's called a digitigrade stance. What digitigrade means is that they are up on their toes. Their heels are off the ground. Their nails are sharp claws, which not only helps them to grapple with prey, but act like sprinter spikes and allows them to really grab the ground. They have the permanently flexed joints, as I mentioned before, which you guys will see in a minute. As you can see, carnivores have a very wide mouth gape, so they can run up, grab something, and start to rip it apart. Teeth are designed for ripping and tearing. They don't chew their food. Their jaw has minimal side-to-side motion. Their saliva has no enzymes. So again, key, they don't chew. They rip off a hunk of flesh, swallow it whole. If the animal is small enough, they'll simply swallow the entire animal. They have these giant canine teeth, and the molars are blade-shaped, and the teeth slide past each other in a nice cutting motion. Again, they have very strong bite forces. Estimations, dogs can do 300 to 450 pounds per square inch. Wolves are greater than 500. A jaguar can do 700. Lions and tigers, 800 to 900. Hyenas greater than 1,000. And by contrast, we have a puny 150 pounds per square inch. So it's good enough to crack a nut, but not a bone. When you look at the herbivores, very different. Instead of that reduced facial musculature, very well-developed facial muscles. Very small opening into the oral cavity, and this area called the angle of the mandible is nice and expanded. Instead of the jaw joint being on the same plane as the cheek teeth, it has moved to a position above the plane of the cheek teeth so that the lower jaw has an L shape. And that allows that lower jaw to be much more mobile so that they can develop the grinding motions of chewing. This type of jaw structure is believed to have evolved more than 15 times. The saliva has an enzyme called salivary amylase, which digests carbohydrate. When you look at the cheek teeth, again, you have these teeth that are like little steak knives, whereas in the herbivores, they are flattened and made for grinding. When you actually look at jaw motion, what you see is that when a carnivore closes its jaw, the teeth slide past each other in a vertical motion. In the herbivores, the teeth slide across each other in a horizontal motion. I'll let you figure out what your jaw does. The esophagus, which is the tube that leads from the throat to the stomach, in carnivores is big, wide, and stretchy, and it allows them to swallow big hunks of meat and bones, and they don't have a problem. In the plant eaters, it's much more narrow and muscular, and that is why when humans eat meat, we often end up choking to death. 90% of the people who choke to death every year choke to death eating meat. And the number one culprit is hot dogs. Stomach, herbivores, herbivores with the simple stomach holds about 30% of the total gut capacity. When food is in the stomach, the pH of that stomach is only about 4 to 5, which is only moderately acidic. When carnivores' stomachs are full, they can secrete so much acid that the pH of their stomach is less than 1. Small intestines, very, very long, over 10 to 12 times body length. And that's because fiber slows down the absorption of nutrients, and they need a large surface area. They have an unlimited capacity for carbohydrate digestion and absorption. Their stomach alone holds 60 to 70% of the total gut capacity, and it allows them to consume roughly 30% of their body weight at a single meal. That means that a 300-pound lioness can consume 90 to 100 pounds of meat at one meal. The huge capacity is necessary because hunting is inefficient. It means that they have to, as I said before, be able to extract enough energy. This means that a 50-kilogram wolf can eat up to 21,000 calories at a single meal. If you tried to do that, it would kill you. Their small intestine is very short. It's only 3 to 4 times the body length. It's mainly lined with protein and fat digesting enzymes. And they can actually go for long periods without eating and still not have a problem eating a large meal and ingesting it. We can't. They were showing the typical appearance: large stomach, short small intestine, short large intestine. Now, you remember in the carnivores, they had this streamlined torpedo shape. They could run very fast and very efficiently. All of their vulnerable parts of their body were located in the rear of the animal, so it was protected from injury. Look at us. Number one, we have the widest part of our body presented to the wind so that it's non-aerodynamic. We have the most vulnerable parts of our anatomy right up there to get injured. We clearly are not designed to chase things down and kill it. We have a very lithe, flexible neck that, as I found out in my car accident, can be easily injured. We have very straight, heavy, pillar-like legs, not the skinny legs of an animal that's designed to run fast. We have large, heavy, flexible feet, which helps us stand up, but that means that when we try to run, we got to lift these big old heavy things up and try to run, and that requires a lot of energy, and that's why we're lousy runners. We have largely hairless skin, our nails are flat and blunt, and lifestyle factors make humans relatively invulnerable to predation. The fastest humans run, even Olympic sprinters, run somewhere between 19 to 22 miles an hour. And humans can only keep that speed up for about 150 meters. Really not fast enough, nor is that the endurance that would allow you to chase down anything. But what it does allow you to do is escape bees and wasps. And then when you look at women, it becomes even more ridiculous to talk about human beings as hunters, because it's crystal clear that a gravid woman is in no condition to hunt. Well, yeah, that's true. And so the anthropologist said, well, you know, what the women did was they waited at the door of the cave while the men went out to hunt. You know, Mother Nature is no fool. She knows that we guys are completely undependable, and she would not stake the existence of human females on men. The female of every species is always able to procure the diet she needs to live, carry a pregnancy, and raise her young. Every single species. There is no species on Earth where the female of that species is unable to procure the diet she needs to live, carry a pregnancy, or feed her young. That is just ridiculous to postulate that. And what is even more interesting is that the long gestation period of humans is typical of large herbivores. Human fetal development also suggests that being herbivores is a necessary prerequisite for human brain development. As with all other large herbivores, single birth is the rule, and we have very large infants relative to the mother's body